Welcome, welcome. Can you all hear me? I'm going to kind of sit back and chill and make sure y'all can hear. And then we'll get started. We got a lot of good questions today. Happy Friday, November 15th. Wow, 45 days left in 2024. It just has flown by. It's amazing. It really is just amazing. But we're going to make the best of it. We're going to sow. We're going to sow happy. We're going to sow our good stuff. Coming through loud and clear. Yay! Thanks for letting me know that. All right, so I'm going to get started and then we can chat for a little bit after. The questions are just good questions. So here we go. The first one starts off is when you talk about going up a size or down a size, do you mean circumference only? The answer is yes. So there's L, C, and D. And when you talk about changing any of those, circumference is what we know as size. So for instance, if we are silhouette patterns is typically the first one who's put a size to depth. Like we choose the size you are, like if you're a size 4, and then you choose D cup. So typically in any pattern or clothing for that matter, when you chose a size 4, that was the only option you had. You didn't have other options. So when we talk about size, generally we talk about circumference. And I know sometimes that's a little confusing. But when we talk about size, we talk about circumference. Okay? L, length, is when you hear the term length, you're really referring to petite, tall. Those are length issues that are being addressed with those categories of clothing. And when you talk about depth, you're talking about cup sizing, but I don't know that you ever see depth. Clearly you just don't see a lot of depth in the patterns, or clothing, which is unfortunate. We're all expected to kind of be the same depth. Okay, so then we're going to start with this next question here. And, sorry, okay. So she wants to go from a larger torso, rear end, tummy, whatever you want to call it, to slimmer legs. Okay, that's the goal. So I'm just going to show you the picture because I think the picture is the way to see this. And she sent me the picture, and her picture is the brown line. She says it's orange, but you know what I'm saying. Orange, brown, whatever you want to call it. And you can see what she did is she went along the 28 line until she got to the 20 leg, which is what she wanted. So she's blending the 28 size hip line and waist, and she's going down to a 20 leg, which is good. Very good. Okay, so when she's doing that, you don't want to do what she did. So that's why I went ahead and left up and what she did. But you want that cross to start at 28 and go gradual. You can see it's gradual to get to 20. And then, so the red line is correct. So I just wanted you to see that difference. When you're doing the brown line, you're cutting off too much and it just becomes too dramatic, whereas the red line is much softer. Okay? And keep in mind, whenever you're doing this, it's a muslin, and so the muslin is to be draped and fitted afterwards. Okay? All right, the next question is, she got the crotch templates, and she wants to know how to use them. So, I don't have a picture for this, but I'm just going to tell you that there's only 2 points that connect. It's the waistline to the crotch line. It's like an armhole. There's only 2 points that connect. So what you want to do is on Silhouette Patterns on the YouTube channel, you can search for crotch templates, and there's a whole video on how to use them. So I didn't think there was any necessary to go into this today, but if you'll just go to that webcast, it's not a webcast, a little short video, there's a whole thing on it. Okay. So the next one is on the sheath dress, and I'm going to pull up this picture, and there's lots to learn from these pictures. That's why I love you all sending me pictures. There's so much here to learn from sending me pictures that I want to kind of go over, and I want to communicate to you what I see. And yes, hi everybody. I'm certainly not ignoring you. Just want to say hi everybody. Okay, so if we start from the left and go to the right, the left is as she said them. Okay, so those one's the side and one's the front. So sometimes when I draw over them, you don't get to see them how they really were. So I decided to really go ahead and show you. I'm hoping you can see all four. Did I make this too big and maybe you can't see all four? There, I think that's better. Okay, I'll just double check and make sure you can see all four. When going from the size 24 at the waist to 20 at inseam, shouldn't the line at the inseam be a right angle? No. No, I don't know where you've gotten that from, but no. Never heard of that. Doesn't need to be. It's being sewn to something else, so it doesn't need to be. Okay? Okay, you can see all four. Thanks for that heads up. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, so let's start from the left. Now, the reason I wanted to make this as big as I possibly could is because, hold on, I'm just trying to fiddle with the size of this picture. No, I'm just not getting it. But anyway, I want you to look at the hem. The hem, especially in a dress, tells you a whole bunch of what's going on wrong in the body. Now, in this case, immediately what I want you to look at is the back of the dress is hitting her legs. A dress should not be hitting her legs. And look how much is in the front. So the whole hang of the dress is wrong. And typically when it's this wrong, it starts all the way up above the waist. Now, when you look above the waist, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing those lines. Those lines are telling you that the dress waist is too long for her waist. It's a sway back is what it is. So in the third picture, you can see I fixed a sway back. I took up a dart at center back, tapered to nothing at the side seam. Now, I don't get the benefit of it actually doing it, so you can see the change to the bottom, but that will in fact pull the back of the dress out, and the side seam will now hang straight. You can also notice that the side seam is hanging way to the front, and it doesn't actually matter where the side seam is, you just want it to be straight, and this is not hanging straight. So if you look at the second picture from the left, what you see is all of those folds in the front, and those are all being caused, those will all be fixed when the back is brought up, when that sway back is fixed. Sway backs cause a lot of problems when they are too long, when you have one, especially in a dress, because that's a problem that's close to the back, and yet the problem it permeates the whole entire garment. It goes through the whole entire thing, and the whole entire bottom is thrown off. And you can see the front as well. So that's all being caused by that sway back there. Now I circled a little bit in the front, on the picture on the right there, I circled a little wrinkle there, and that's the angle of the shoulder. So she could pick up the angle of the shoulder there, and I showed that straight angle line in the front and in the back, and that will correct that as well. Or, you could put in a shoulder pad. I don't know if this is a knit or woven. I can't really tell from the question. So just FYI, you can put in a little shoulder pad just as a tool to see if the shoulder pad works, then in fact you know that it works. Okay? Wasn't that fun? Draping is so much fun, you guys. It's just fun. Okay. And keep in mind that as I'm going through these questions, I'm watching the Q&As. I'm kind of going back and forth. So if any Q&As come up, I'll watch for it. I'm 5'3", narrow shoulders, but need a 38 D cup. I'm at a loss for size on twin set. Okay, let me just address this for a minute. Marcy, you have made so many conclusions that are false that you're stopping yourself. Okay, 5'3", you could measure that. Narrow shoulders, who told you that? You need a 38 bust. Why not just pick it exactly how the directions say? The directions say to pick the circumference and not worry about the rest. You're worrying about way too many things, so you're not even able to get started. Okay? So that's the problem. When you're anticipating all of these things to go wrong, you can't even get your foot in the door. And that's not a good thing. We want you to get not only your foot in the door, we want to get you through the door. Okay? Okay, so pick a size by the bust. By garments you wear that you like, pick a size by the bust. make it up. In her case, D cup. If nothing else, make it up in a stretch, muslin, whatever. Send it to me, and we'll critique it right on here and show everybody. We'll all learn together. Okay. Next picture is, and I love this, you guys, when you send me stuff like this. Okay, she says, I love this. There's just got to be a way to make this cape. Yeah, there's a way. It's called pattern making. All right, so pattern making is, you know, I kind of can't beat y'all up anymore for this, is something you don't know. You don't know pattern making. So what happens is when you learn to fit and you learn to make patterns and fabrics together, the next step is pattern making, and you want to know how to pattern make. And so I've figured out that I can't possibly take on pattern making as a Q&A. I can't do it. I mean, we could be here for the next 5 years. But we do classes, or we have a video, basic pattern making. That is a shawl collar put onto a body. That's it. And you know what, you guys? For the price of a pattern making class, if you do one outfit, you make your money back. So I'm a big believer in pattern making. You know that. It will empower you like you have never experienced before, especially as we love to sew and we love to fit. So I just loved when she said, there's just got to be a way to do this. Yeah, it's really actually easy. In fact, you don't even know how easy it is because you don't know how to make patterns, but you'll get it. Okay, so let's go on to this next one. Okay, so her question is a shoulder pad question. And I brought in these, I brought in these jackets because one's on the mannequin, one's on her. The shoulder is beautiful. She did a beautiful job. So there's just a couple things I want to talk about shoulder pads, just a couple tips I want to give you. I just think that to me, when you have a beautiful shoulder on a jacket, oh, I mean, it's like the price of tea in China. It's just amazing how beautiful it looks. And her shoulders look beautiful. So the shoulder pad, if you notice, extends beyond the stitch line by a seam allowance. In any of our directions that use shoulder pads, we have that information in there. The shoulder pad extends beyond the seam line into the armhole by a seam allowance amount. That would be 3/8. Okay. The longer part of the shoulder pad goes into the armhole. The shorter part, the curved part, goes toward the body. You can anchor it in, I anchor it usually 3 places. I anchor it in the center, at the seam, and I just do a stitching by machine. I put it in place, and then once it's done, and then I do a front and a back. And then, I do 4. I do at the base of the neck. Where the shoulder pad ends, I do at the base of the neck. That's all there is to them. They're very simple. Don't complicate them. And they're beautiful. And I hate to tell you this, or maybe I love to tell you this, but they're coming back. Okay? And that's because we look so much better with them. We look, repeat after me, we look so much better with them. We look so much better. They're so flattering. We look so much better. Okay, next question. Next question is, I feel like I've gotten these pictures too big, you guys. I'm going to bring this back in. Okay, she wants to shorten A24, but when she shortens it, she doesn't know what to do with that dart. Just leave it at the hem. It's just an angled dart coming from the hem. Don't do anything with it. Just stitch it the same. We have darts coming from the hem all the time. It's just not a problem. It's only a problem because you think it's a problem, but it's not. Okay, just let it go, sew it from the hem, call it a good. So you can see what I did. I shortened that right through the French dart so that when you sew that up, the dart will be coming from the corner of the hem. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, I wish I could take you shopping with me sometimes and show you all the things I saw. The other day I was shopping and I saw a French dart coming from the lower side seam. I could have screamed it from the mountaintops, you guys. You probably heard me. Okay. Next picture is, love this. I just love this. She's so excited. This is pattern number 98. Again, I'm going to bring it in just a little bit. Pattern number 98. You know, and one thing I love about this is I say to you guys all the time, I learn from you. I have never made this cape in anything but a solid. The original was a solid, so when I see it, and we all do this, we kind of get this tunnel vision. And the way it's in our brain is kind of how we see it. And I'm not as good as breaking out of the box. I'm the same as you all. I'm so comfortable in my little box, but that's why I shop. That's why I go out. That's why I do what I do. I love getting out of this box. I love this. I absolutely love it. I think this is so cute on her. She loves it, number one. That's important. Look at the smile on her face. It's adorable. So this pattern number 98, the cape pattern. And she did it in a floral, in a print. And I just think it's adorable. Now she said, her comments were that she made the large and she thought she could have made the medium. Now, just an FYI, a way to prevent this is measure the body. Measure how big around that cape is versus how much you are. Now, and this is why it's a personality thing, because you can't, you know, I couldn't tell you how much extra you should have because I don't know you. But if you want things a little closer to your body, then you want to go with a smaller size. And if you want things layered over sweaters and other things, then you want to, you know, you want to go up in size. So that's kind of the determinant. It's not just your personality. It's also, you know, there's other things involved. Hi, everybody. I haven't even had a chance to say hi, everybody. Good Saturday morning. Oh, I was going to say it's not Saturday, and it's Saturday for you, though. Friday for us, Saturday for you. All these Australian ladies. I guess because we're at a different time, huh? It's better at this time than it is at night. Well, welcome. Welcome. It's really hard to stop in the middle of the day to do this, but it's even harder to do it when you're out of town. So I apologize for the time that I keep switching this around, but I really do appreciate that you all are here. Okay, this last question is kind of fun. And again, my goal is to never make these long, but just so you can listen to them over and over again and learn them and get through them. That's the goal. Okay, so I'm going to move this over. Here, I'm playing with it. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, let me move this over. Okay, so this is what she sent me. Her concern is about proportions, and her concern is that because she has a sloped shoulder, it will affect the measurement. Now, admittedly, I'm sure she would admit, whoever this is, that she's not a great artist, okay? But B is not your shoulder, okay? I mean, that is so far off there. You know, your shoulder is just not that far outside your body. But it's just really interesting how she sees herself. Okay. Okay, so I wanted you to see her question is on proportion. If B is so much different than A, how can she get the dress part of the body? How can she determine what the dress part of the body is? Okay, so what we're going to do now is look at real pictures. And on the picture on the right, on the left, I'm sorry, as you're looking at it, the picture on the left, I drew two white lines. One is 1 and one is 2. And you can see that if there's a sloped shoulder, 1 is going to be shorter than number 2. But it's not that much. It's not as near as much. Y'all are panicking way too much over, you know, that expression, much ado about nothing. This is much ado about nothing. This is just not that big a deal. Sloped shoulder, doesn't matter. This is where your sensitivity to your sloped shoulder is really becoming much more, it's kind of taking over. And sometimes that happens, you guys. I'm not telling you it doesn't happen. But it definitely has happened in this case. You're just not that sloped. So, you know, basically, the first picture is 1 to 1.5, 1 to 3, and then 3 to 1. So you want to, you know, don't get too crazy with the proportions. I don't know how else to say it, but you just get too crazy with the proportions. Okay? You guys, I do think, and I appreciate, Darlene, that comment about the diagrams, because, you know, going back before we did this format, we did Q&As. Every webcast at the very beginning, we did Q&As. And what I found after doing them for some time, I didn't feel like y'all were grasping the information. I didn't feel like y'all were learning. And it's because I was taking them off the cuff. I don't think I was answering them well. In my mind, I knew what I was saying, but I'm not sure that you all were getting what I was saying. You know, there's an old expression, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I strongly believe that. We all know we learn visually as opposed to auditory hearing. So visual is very important for us to see. So there are times when you guys ask questions in these, and I say, I can't answer that because I need more time. It's not because I need more time to know the answer. I need more time to communicate the answer effectively back to you who are watching. I respect your time. I respect the fact that we are all here together trying to learn. And so if we can get these questions in advance, and I can take a short period of time to answer these questions, they're logical. They make sense. We get them. This is not information that is too hard for you to understand. It's information that's so logical. Once you start training your brain to think in this logical pattern, you're going to forever you're just going to think differently. It's just amazing the difference. So I do appreciate you all being patient with me and how I felt it was important to have this format as opposed to just answering questions off the fly, because I just didn't feel like we were progressing. And so I really, I want us to get there. I want us to understand what we're doing. Okay. All right, so we are at time. Speaking of these short formats, again, 20 minutes in, we want you guys to be able to watch these over and over and over. I don't want you to spend a lot of time at this. The goal is to just penetrate your brain slowly. Osmosis, that's the goal. Okay. All right, so let me know if there's any other questions I can answer, and we'll wrap up. And this is, sometimes I think you just need to make the garment up and wear it and learn from the mistakes. Oh, not sometimes. I'm going to ditto that, Rose. That's a very profound statement. The fabric is never exactly like the muslin. It's never exactly like the muslin. So for us to make it up and wear it, and it's funny because I used to call them, I remember one time a lady in a class telling her she's not allowed to make any more muslins. She had passed her amount in life of muslins she should make, and that she had to go to fabric. And she's emailed me many times since that. She's a very dear friend, and said thank you. Thank you for stopping me and not allowing me to do any more, because she says I was so fearful that I would fail that I just kept not wanting to even succeed. The price of not succeeding was worth, whatever. It's all mental stuff. I totally get it. I'm just the one who has to tell you all, stop. Okay. So I have to be the bad guy. But anyway, stop. You all are doing great. The garments I see, the things you're making, I'm thrilled. I'm just thrilled to be at the intersection of where it's all going on. And I really do. I love you guys. I mean, I just really appreciate being here. I'm really grateful. All right. So everybody knows about New York. This is a quick scheduled trip, but it was a worthwhile scheduled trip. It's not inexpensive, but I'm taking care of most of your expenses when you're there. And it is, oh my goodness, is it going to be fun. Holidays in New York. I'm telling you, it's been a couple years since I've been in New York for the holidays. There's just nothing more holiday-ish than that city, okay? We have a private driver. You don't have to walk. We're just going to make it great. We're going to make it great. So if you haven't, go to the website, check out the holiday, the holiday trip. We've already got some registrations. I feel comfortable it will. We'll have a wonderful group. All right, you guys, thank to you. You all know I love you to death. And we'll see you Tuesday night. All right, the goal is happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns. Bye.